Welcome to Anthology Training. Today we're going to talk about Basic Cash Register Training Part 3. Hopefully you've had a chance to see Part 1 and Part 2, but if you haven't, please go to our Customer Zone under Videos and take a look at it now. Let's go ahead and talk about what we're going to review in this video. We're going to talk about basic inventory assistant searches and editing transactions from the tape field. Before we go any further, however, let's do a little review on what we talked about in the first two videos. We reviewed the 5 basic steps to a cash register transaction. Step 1 was to enter a SKU. Now remember, a SKU was an inventory record identifier. It tells Anthology what it is that you're wanting to sell. Step 2, select F3 Take Tenders button. Step 3, go ahead and select the tender the customer is paying with. Step 4, enter the amount they're paying. And then step 5, complete the sale. Don't forget, press any key to continue. We also talked about entering an ISBN SKU into the ISBN SKU field. And we mentioned that there were 3 basic ways to do that. One of the ways to do that was to scan the barcode. Remember that we talked about an EAN 13 barcode, a UPC barcode, what they were, and how to tell the difference between them. We talked about hand typing the SKU into the ISBN SKU field. Remember we said hit enter off the keyboard. We also did a very quick inventory assistant search, but I think we need to talk about that a little bit more. Basic inventory assistant searches. The first question is how do you find the inventory assistant? Well, you do that by selecting one of the ellipse buttons on the screen or the F2 lookup button. What you're seeing now is a picture of the cash register on the bottom left-hand side. You'll notice the title, description, and ISBN SKU field have ellipse buttons to the right of them. If you select either one of them, it's going to bring up the inventory assistant. Also notice that you have an F2 lookup button at the bottom. If you select that, remember to check to see where the cursor is flashing. It needs to be in the title, description, or ISBN SKU field first. Once you select either one of those buttons, the inventory assistant will appear, and this is what it looks like. To begin your search, start by selecting a search by method. You can use keywords, author, ISBN SKU, or title description. Now, title description is a little exacting, so we're suggesting that you use keywords. Once you've selected your search by method, go ahead and enter your criteria in the field up above. Then you can either hit enter off your keyboard or click on the search button. So let's go over that again. You want to choose your preferred search by method. That would be keywords or author. And then you want to type in your search criteria, which might be the title of the book or the author's last name. And then click on your search button or enter off your keyboard. Now let's go ahead and take a look at that in Anthology. You're looking at the Anthology cash register, and to begin you'd want to click on one of the ellipse buttons or the F2 lookup button. Remember, if you choose F2 lookup, make sure your cursor is sitting in the appropriate field. So I select F2 lookup, and the inventory assistant appears. We begin by selecting our search by method. I'm going to go ahead and leave it keywords and then type in my search criteria up here. Let's say I'm looking for book thief. Let me start by entering in a keyword of the title. So I've typed in the word book, and now I can hit enter off the keyboard. But as I can see, that has given me a lot of responses. Book is pretty general, so you might want to add another keyword to narrow down the records, because remember, that's what search is doing. It's narrowing down the number of records you're looking for. I'm going to go ahead and click by book, and then type in thief and hit the search button, and now it has narrowed it down to a single record. Perfect. Let's go ahead and take a closer look at this record. The inventory assistant is often used for customer service. Remember that there are more columns here besides the ones you can see. If you scroll to the right or to the left, you're going to get more information, so make sure you take advantage of all the information that's available. So if I was working with the customer, I could now tell the customer that the book thief version I had was in paperback and see if that's what they wanted. If they did, I know that I have 9 on hand, and that I know where it's at. It's in sections grades 7 through 9. Now I can either tell her where it's at, or I can go out to the floor myself and grab the book. If this is the book the customer wants, I can go ahead and click F12 select and bring this into the cash register. So when I do that, you can see it appears over on the right hand side. So that's an example of one search. Let's go ahead and do another. I'm going to click on the ellipse button to the right of the ISBN SKU field. When I do that, the Inventory Assistant opens up, and again I'm going to start by selecting my search by method. This time I'm going to select author. I'm looking for different books that Stephanie Meyer has written. I type in her last name, and again I can click on the search button or enter off the keyboard. So now what I'm seeing is all the books that we have by Stephanie. If I rearrange the screen a little bit, I can see that it is Stephanie Meyer, that it is a paperback, that I have 5 on hand. So if the customer would like this, you can click on F12 Select. If they don't, you can click on F9 Cancel. Let's do one more search. I'm going to click on the ellipse button to the right of the title description field. And when I do, it comes up in title description order. I'm going to go ahead and select on title description. I'm looking for the book Love in the Time of Gloria, and I'm in a hurry, so I'm going to go ahead and type in a few keywords. Of course, you may have already seen that there's a problem, but let's go ahead and go through with this. I'm going to click on Search. So I want you to see that when this message comes up, don't assume that you don't have it in your inventory. It says not found, but you may have misspelled something, added too many words. There may be a number of reasons why it could not find that record. So in this case, I'm going to click on Search again, and I'm going to change it from title description to keywords, and try it one more time. And sure enough, now I found the record I'm looking for. I can click on F12 Select or enter off the keyboard to bring it back into the cash register. Now that we've had a chance to review a number of different Inventory Assistant searches, let's go ahead and move on to our next topic, which is editing a transaction in the cash register once it's over in the tape field over on the right-hand side. So editing transactions from the tape field. How do you edit a transaction that is already on the right-hand side of the cash register? You start by clicking on the item you want to edit in the tape field. You can see here that I've selected Twilight over here on the right-hand side in the tape field. Now that I've clicked on it in the tape field, it's going to appear on the left-hand side in the line item entry fields where I can edit it. If you notice here, it's appearing now on the left-hand side. So now I can go ahead and make my change. Once you've made your changes, you can select Enter to get it back over into the tape field. So you notice here the change has been made and it's over on the right-hand side. We're back at the Anthology cash register in the transaction we were working on before. Let's say that the customer wanted another copy of Book Thief. So how would we add to this transaction? Well, we could do that by editing it, and we'd begin by clicking on it in the tape field. Notice how it turns blue and appears over on the left-hand side. Now I can go ahead and make any change that I want to. I'm going to change the quantity, and then I can click on the Underline button or hit Enter off the keyboard. Once I do that, it comes over the right-hand side with the changes that I've made. Let's say that this particular book should have gotten a discount on it. So how do I put a discount on it when it's already in the tape field? I begin by clicking on it. Once I click on it, it comes over to the left-hand side, and now I can edit it as I need to. I type in the discount, hit Enter off the keyboard, it goes over to the right-hand side. I've added a few transactions on the screen so that we can talk about editing just a little bit more. I want you to understand that it does not matter the type of transaction it is. Any transaction can be edited simply by clicking on it and making a change to it in the line item entry fields. So let's say this customer who was going to purchase 2 gift certificates actually wants to purchase 4. They've changed their mind, they want to add a few more. All I have to do, click on it. It comes back over into the left-hand side. Now I can make my change and click on the Underline button or Enter off the keyboard. And any other of the transactions on the screen can be edited the same way. Let's take a look at one other feature of editing. Let's say that I click on something to edit it, perhaps by accident, and now it's over on the right-hand side. So let's say I accidentally clicked on shipping. I don't need to make a change. Now, how do I clear this up? Notice how the Underline button is grayed out. You can't click on it. So what do? Well, the answer is not very intuitive. You want to click on this blank line that's at the very bottom of the tape field. When you do that, the left-hand side clears up. So again, if you click on a transaction in the tape field, And that puts it into edit mode, so it's over in the line item entry fields, and you didn't want that. You want to clear it up. Go ahead and click on the blank line that's at the bottom of the tape field, and that clears up the line item entry fields. So you can see editing is very simple, and no matter what kind of transaction it is, all you have to do is click on it to bring it back into the line item entry fields, make the change, hit enter to bring it back over the right hand side. Thank you for joining me in Cash Register Basics Part 3. We had a chance to talk about basic inventory assistant searches and editing transactions from the tape field. If you have more questions, please go to our help system. You'd want to go to Using Visual Anthology, and then, remembering where you were in Anthology, go to the Sales menu. And sure enough, you're going to find Cash Register, and there's many topics underneath it. You can also call tech support if you have further questions. And that concludes our Basic Cash Register Training Part 3.